I want you to do something before we start this video. Forget everything you have learned from interview answer websites. Forget the one-line definitions, forget the memorized answers, because today we are doing something completely different. Today you are going to sit inside a business analyst interview. Not a fake interview, not a list of questions, a real interview experience. You are going to watch two candidates answer the exact same questions. Candidate A, candidate B. Same role, similar experience, same interview. But by the end of the interview, one candidate gets rejected and the other gets shortlisted. The scary part? Most candidates don't even realize they are answering like the rejected candidate. And that's exactly why I have created this video. Throughout this mock interview, I'm going to pause for every answer and explain what the interviewer is actually thinking. Because interviews are not won by giving answers. Interviews are won by creating confidence. So grab a notebook, because today's video might completely change the way you prepare for business analyst interview. And if you have been following part 1, 2, 3 and 4 of this series, you are going to see how all these concepts come together in a real interview situation. Let's begin. Good morning. Let's start with simple question. Tell me about yourself. Good morning. My name is Rahul. I have completed my MBA in 2022. I have around 3 years of experience in IT. I'm hardworking. I'm passionate about learning. My hobbies include traveling and cricket. I'm looking for good opportunities to grow my career. Now stop right there. Let me ask you something. Was that answer wrong? No. But was it impressive? Also no. And this is where many candidates get confused. They think interviews are about avoiding wrong answers. They are not. Interviews are about creating confidence. Let's look at this answer from an interviewer's perspective. The candidate spoke for almost a minute, but what did the interviewer actually learn? Did we hear anything about stakeholder management? No. Requirement gathering? No. User stories, agile projects, business analysis? Barely. The candidate spent most of the answer talking about things that don't help the interviewer make a hiring decision. Now imagine the interviewer has already interviewed 20 candidates today. How many of them said, I'm hardworking, I'm passionate, I'm a quick learner? Probably all of them, which means this answer is forgettable. Now interviewer is thinking, seems okay, but I don't yet know if this person can perform as a business analyst. Good morning. I'm Priya. I'm currently working as a business analyst supporting Agile delivery teams. Over the last 3 years, I have worked on requirement elicitation, stakeholder management, user stories creation, backlog refinement, process analysis, and UAT support. My strength is understanding business problems and translating them into clear requirements that development teams can execute effectively. I have worked closely with business stakeholders, developers, testers, and product owners to ensure solutions deliver measurable business value. What I enjoy most about business analysis is solving problems and helping organizations improve processes through technology. Did you feel the difference? Notice what happened? Candidate B immediately positioned themselves as a business analyst. Not an employee, not an MBA graduate, not a job seeker, a business analyst. Every sentence reinforced the role. Requirement elicitation, stakeholder management, user stories, business values. These are words interviewers expect to hear. Write this down. Strong candidates don't introduce themselves personally. Strong candidates introduce themselves professionally. That's a huge difference. Why should we hire you for this role? Because I'm hardworking. I'm a quick learner. I'm dedicated. I work well in teams. And I always give my best. Let's be brutally honest here. If you have answered like this, you are not alone. Thousands of candidates do exactly the same thing. But here's the problem. None of these statements are supported by evidences. Imagine I tell you, I am a great singer. Your next question will be, can you prove it? Interviews work the same way. Saying you're hardworking isn't proof. Saying you're a quick learner isn't a proof. Interviewers want evidence. Generic answer. No differentiation, no evidence, nothing memorable. I believe my experience aligns strongly with the requirements of this role. I have worked extensively with stakeholders to gather and analyze requirements, support agile delivery teams, create user stories, and participate in UAT activities. Along with business analysis skills, I focus heavily on communication and stakeholder alignment, which helps reduce misunderstandings and improve project outcomes. I believe I can contribute quickly by continuing to grow within the organization. Now that sounds different. Why? Because candidate B isn't describing personality traits. They are describing business value. And that's what companies hire for. Companies don't hire candidates because they are hardworking. Companies hire candidates because they solve problems. Why did you choose business analysis as a career? I like talking to people. I enjoy communication. Business analysis has good opportunities. It's a growing field. Now listen carefully. This answer sounds reasonable, but it lacks depth. The interviewer wants to understand your motivation, not market trends. Business analysis aligns strongly with my strengths in communication, problem solving, and analytical thinking. I enjoy understanding business challenges, asking questions, identifying root causes, and collaborating with teams to create solutions that deliver measurable value. What attracted me to this role is opportunities that bridge business needs and technology while helping organizations achieve their goals. Notice something? Candidate B connected. Strength, interest, and business value. That's a powerful interview formula. Okay, a stakeholder requests major changes after development has already started. What would you do? I would explain that changes are not allowed because development has already started. Huge mistake. And honestly, this answer tells the interviewer the candidate doesn't understand real projects. Because real projects changes all the time. Regulation changes, customer expectation changes, market conditions, priorities, they keep on changing. The question is not, can changes happen? The question is, how do you manage them? I would first understand the reason behind the requested change. Then I would conduct impact analysis to understand the effect on scope, timeline, budget, testing effort, and technical implementation. Based on findings, I would discuss options with stakeholders and project teams and follow the change management process before proceeding. Excellent. This candidate understands project reality. Okay, how do you prioritize requirements? I prioritize important requirements first. Important according to who? That's the problem. This answer sounds simple, but it's actually vague because in projects, everyone thinks their requirement is important. So, how do you decide? I prioritize requirements based on business value, urgency, stakeholder impact, dependency, risk, and implementation efforts. Depending on the project, I may use techniques such as Moscow prioritization to support decision making and stakeholder decisions. Now, this is where experienced business analysts stand out because prioritization is not simply choosing what gets done first, it's deciding where the business gets maximum value. And that's exactly the language interviewers want to hear. Business value, impact, risk, dependencies, stakeholder alignment. If these words are missing from your answer is probably weaker than you think. We are only 5 questions into this mock interview, and candidate A is already falling behind. But the next questions become even more realistic. Difficult stakeholders, scope creep, UAT failures, developer pushbacks, production issues. And that's where most candidates completely expose their weakness. Tell me about a situation where you had to deal with difficult stakeholder. How would you handle it? I would try to convince them. If they don't agree, I would escalate it to the manager. Now, this answer may sound reasonable at first, but let's think like an interviewer. What did we just learn? We learned that candidate's first solution is to convince someone. And if that doesn't work, escalate. But where is the analysis? Where is the stakeholder understanding? Where is the communication strategy? Remember, business analysts spend a huge amount of time working with people. So when interviewers ask this question, they are testing whether you can win arguments. They're testing whether you can build alignment. This candidate may struggle in stakeholder heavy environments. I would first try to understand the stakeholders' concerns and expectations. In many cases, what appears to be a difficult stakeholder is actually a stakeholder with unresolved concerns. I would actively listen, ask clarification questions, focus on business objectives, and communicate transparently. If disagreements remain, I would facilitate discussions using facts, business priorities, and stakeholder alignment rather than personal opinions. Now that answer sounds very different because candidate B isn't treating the stakeholder as a problem. They are trying to understand the root cause. And honestly, this is something many new business analysts miss. Most difficult stakeholders are not difficult people. They're usually frustrated people. Maybe they have seen previous projects fail. Maybe their requirements were ignored. Maybe deadlines are putting pressure on them. Strong business analysts investigate before reacting. Time to take down notes? Write this down. Don't manage stakeholders' behavior. Understand stakeholder concern. That's how trust is built. What would you do if requirements are unclear? I would make assumptions and continue so the project doesn't get delayed. This answer is one of the biggest red flags in business analysis. Let me say that again. Assumptions are dangerous because assumptions create defects, assumptions create rework, assumptions create misunderstandings, and assumptions create project delays. Imagine a stakeholder says, we need customer notifications. Sounds simple, right? But what kind of notifications? SMS, email, push notifications. When should they trigger? What should they contain? What if delivery fails? One unclear requirement can turn into 20 unanswered questions. And if you assume the answer, you are creating risk. If requirements are unclear, I would conduct stakeholder discussions and ask probing questions to understand the business need fully. I would validate assumptions, document findings, and ensure all stakeholders agree before finalizing requirements. Notice something? Candidate B never says, I know the answer. Instead, they say, I will discover the answer. That's real business analysis. Here's something I want you to write down. Whenever requirements are unclear, ask, what problem are we solving? Who need this? Why is this needed? How will success be measured? What risk should be considered? These 5 questions alone can drastically improve requirement quality. Okay, so what is scope creep and how would you handle it? I would tell stakeholders they cannot add new requirements. Again, this sounds like someone fighting change, and real projects don't work like that. Let me show you how scope creep actually happens. Stakeholder asks, can we add one extra field? Team agrees. Then another stakeholder asks, can we add one more report? Team agrees. Then another change arrives. Then another and next. Suddenly, timeline increases, testing increases, defect increases, budget increases. That's scope creep. Small changes, big consequences. I would evaluate the requested changes through impact analysis and follow the change management process. This helps stakeholders understand effects on scope, cost, timeline, and resources before decisions are made. Good. This candidate understands governance. Note this down. Strong BAs don't stop changes. Strong BAs make change visible. Okay. During testing, the team discovers that some requirements were never documented. What would you do? I would quickly update the document. That's only treating the symptom. Interviewers want to know if you can identify the root cause. Because if requirements are missing during testing, bigger questions appear. Why were they missed? Were stakeholders consulted? Were reviews conducted? Was validation skipped? Is the RTM incomplete? What else may be missing? This is bigger than updating a document. I would first assess the impact of the missing requirement on testing and delivery. Then I would work with stakeholders to clarify and document them, update relevant artifacts, and perform root cause analysis to prevent similar issues in the future. Good ownership, good analytical thinking, good risk awareness. Strong candidates don't just fix problems, they prevent future problems. How would you handle communication gaps between stakeholders and technical teams? I would schedule more meetings. Now, that's not necessarily wrong, but here's something important. More meetings do not automatically mean better communication. In many organizations, people spend all day in meetings and still misunderstand each other. Business stakeholders say customer should be notified. Developer hears, send an email. Tester hears, verify email functionality. Product owner hears, improve customer engagement. Same statement, 4 different interpretations. This is exactly why communication gap happens. I would ensure requirements are clearly documented, validated with stakeholders, and communicated through appropriate channels. I would also conduct regular discussions and confirm shared understanding across business and technical teams. Notice this phrase, shared understanding. That's one of the most important concepts in business analysis because successful projects are not built on communication, they are built on shared understanding. Big difference. Let's pause for a second. We are now 10 questions into this mock interview, and I want you to answer honestly. If you walked into an interview tomorrow, would you sound like candidate A or candidate B? Don't answer quickly. Think about it because awareness is the first step towards improvement. And trust me, the next questions become even more interesting. We are about to move into conflicting stakeholders, developer pushbacks, UAT failures, production issues, and the questions that often decide whether someone gets hired or rejected. Let's continue. Let's say 2 important stakeholders have completely different expectations. One wants feature A, other wants feature B. Both believe the requirement is critical. What would you do? I would go with the requirement from the senior stakeholder. This answer gets more candidates into trouble than you think because business analysts are not supposed to blindly choose ideas. Imagine if every decision was based on job title, then why do we even conduct analysis? The interviewer is not testing whether you respect hierarchy. They are testing whether you can facilitate decisions objectively. Imagine you're working on an e-commerce application. The sales team wants a quick checkout process. The compliance team wants additional verification steps. Sales says, make it faster. Compliance says, make it safer. Both have valid concern. So what do? This is where business analysis becomes more than documentation. It becomes decision facilitation. Imagine this. It's Friday evening, a new feature goes live. Within minutes, customers cannot place orders. Revenue is being impacted. Executives are asking questions. Support teams are receiving complaints. This isn't a technical issue anymore. It's a business issue. I would immediately assess business impact, notify relevant stakeholders, coordinate with technical team members, and support issue resolution. Once the issue is resolved, I would participate in root cause analysis to prevent recurrence. Good. This candidate understands incident management and business impact. Remember this. A great business analyst doesn't focus only on the defect, they focus on business impact. How do you manage multiple stakeholders with different priorities? I try to keep everyone happy. Sounds nice, but impossible. In projects, stakeholders often have competing priorities. If your strategy is making everyone happy, you're going to struggle. Imagine marketing wants feature released quickly, compliance wants additional reviews, operations wants stability, finance wants lower cost. Everyone wants something different. That's normal. The business analyst job isn't making everyone happy, it's creating alignment. I manage multiple stakeholders through structured communication, prioritization, discussions, expectation management, and regular updates. I focus on understanding stakeholder needs while aligning decisions with overall business goals. Strong communication, strong stakeholder management, strong business focus. Let's stop here for a moment. Did you notice something? Candidate B isn't necessarily giving longer answers. They are giving smarter answers. That's the difference. Most candidates think interviews are knowledge test. They are not. They are confidence test. Every answer should make the interviewer think, I can trust this person in real project. And that's exactly what candidate B is doing. Let's score ourselves. Give yourself 1 point. If you mention business value, you mention stakeholders, you discuss impact, you avoid assumptions, you focus on solution, you show ownership, you explain reasoning, you communicate clearly, you think beyond documentation, you sound like a problem solver. Now quickly comment below your scores so that I get to know what is your progress in this interview preparation series. If you have made this far, you have done something most candidates never do. You have stopped memorizing answers and started understanding how interviewers think. That's where real interview preparation begins. If you are enjoying this business analyst interview series, subscribe and turn on notification, because in the next video, I am going to come up with a series which is going to focus on technical rounds where students struggle most. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Keep learning, keep improving, and I'll see you in the next video.